Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking our content, please make sure to like, subscribe and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. We are looking at Birds. Birds has not gone through a lot of changes, but it's one of the decks I own. I wanted to cover it because I still love it. It's still one of my favourite red decks to play, and I think it's great. It's not got many updates from BT17. Most of it is still the same, but we've got some little changes just to kind of cope with the existing meta, as well as some other things to discuss to cope with the meta. So let's start, of course, with the eggs. The eggs, of course, are still going to be the BT15 Yokomon. It's still the best egg for the deck by far. When you're deleted, so you're on deletion, you get to return one of your birds, avian, beast, from the trash, so long as it's not a sea animal. And you know, get that little recursion there. Returning anything from the trash does actually trigger some of your effects, so that is a really good egg for us to have. Then we go into the rookies, first starting with the 3 copies of the BT11 Biomon. So this is a good searcher for all of our red vaccine cards, specifically red vaccine cards. There are some cards in this which are not vaccine, so it won't search those, but it will search everything else, and it will also search one tamer, and our tamers are pretty important in this deck. Then it also has an on-deletion inheritable of gaining 1 memory when you are deleted if you have a red tamer in play, which could be enough to potentially swing turn back to yourself, or can be potentially triggered outside of that, so really good. Then 4 copies of the Biomon from BT15. This is the de facto best searcher that Birds has got, and actually a really good generic searcher for red in general, so long as you've got enough beasts and animals to trash, because to search with it at the start of main, you are trashing a beast, animal, bird, avian. I'm just going to say the aforementioned traits from this point on, because I can't be asked to say that over and over again. You then get to reveal for and add any red card. So any red card in the game. There's only 2 cards in this deck which are not red, so it's got a pretty good chance of being able to add what you want. It then also has a your turn inheritable of when a security is removed, you get to gain a memory. So it's opponent's security, not your own, of course, and it is a your turn effect. Would be busted otherwise. Then I've gone for 3 copies of the EX1 Biomon. I used to play the BT13 Biomon, but actually I think that Biomon, as much as I love it, is, until we've got the scramble cards, it won't be as good. And at the moment, whilst we've got Imperial Dramon so rampant, we need less effects that allow us to digivolve by effect. Which, if you look down at the bottom of the list, you'll see a card which definitely doesn't do that, but I'll discuss that when we get there. So I've gone with the Biomon. It's got no on plays or anything, but it does have a great inheritable of when attacking, you get to draw a card, so it could potentially help with the consistency. So I think it could be a good shout, especially in this meta where Imperial Dramon is running so rampant. Next, we go into our level 4s. We've got 2 copies of the BT11 Birdramon. So this is a blocker. For some weird reason, I've picked the pre-release image. Oh well. And then it has an on deletion effect of you may play 1 red tamer with a cost of 4 or less without paying the cost, which is awesome. Then we got 3 copies of the BT15 Birdramon. So this one, when digivolving, you return one of the aforementioned traits from the trash to your hand, and then it has the same inheritable as its BT15 Biomon counterpart, which is the gain 1 memory when a security is removed. So really good. Then we've got the Saberdramon, 2 copies of that. Has raid and retaliation, so a really good form of removal. It could just slam into whatever you need it to. It will die, but 9 times out of 10, so will the thing that you're raiding into. And then it has an on-deletion effect of returning 1 red or purple card from your trash to the hand. I think it might have to be a Digimon card. I could be mistaken, so just comment below on that one, and let me know. Then we've got the level 5s. We've got quite a few level 5s in this, because this deck likes to cheat things out and kind of do a lot of shenanigans there. We've got 3 copies of the blocker Garudamon, so from BT11, which is exactly the same as the Birdramon, except for it's a level 5, has blocker, has that player tamer out on deletion inheritable. Then we've got 3 copies of the Garudamon Ace from BT15, super simple on this one. On play and when digivolving, you may play one red tamer with a cost of 4 or less without paying the cost. And when you do, so all turns effect, when one of your tamers is played, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker, which is actually really good against the yellow armor matchup. So if they're not playing the Nyaromon that allows them to trash their security when they're attacking, you can actually delete Magnamon X with this before it becomes immune to things. So it can actually be pretty damn good, and has actually come up for me before in testing. Then we've got the 4 copies of the Garudamon X. This is one of the best cards in the deck by a country mile. Evolves for 0 on top of your Garudamons, which is really cool. On play when digivolving, what it is going to do is it's going to return something from trash to hand. Then if it's got Garudamon or X antibody underneath it, it will delete something with equal DP or less DP to itself. So we've got no ways of kind of DP boosting, but deleting something with 8k is pretty good still, and does cover a wide array of Digimon. Then it also has the on deletion inheritable of trashing the top of your opponent's security stack. So if it dies, you then get to trash their security stack, or other ways, of course, of being able to prop that effect. But really, really good card. Oh, it also has the your turn effect of when you are returning something from trash to hand, you can give something rush. So if you did hard play something or played something by an effect, and then you digivolve into Garudamon X, you can then give it itself rush, or you can give something else rush. It's really cool. Then going into the level 6s, we've got 3 copies of the BT17 Phoenixmon. So on play, on deletion, if your opponent has 4 or more security, you get to trash one of their security. If they've got 3 or less, you delete one of their lowest TP Digimon, which is really nice. And then when digivolving, you may either play out a tamer, or you play out something with 5000 DP or less. Usually I find that I'm doing the tamer effect more often than not, but it's a really, really, really good card. Absolutely friggin' love it. Next, we've got Phoenixmon X, which is probably my favourite card in the deck. I absolutely love Phoenixmon. I think it's Phoenixmon X. It's just such a fun card to use. I've been loving it ever since it came out in BT16. It has Blitz, so you can, the moment you digivolve into it, you can do a swing with it. Your turn. It essentially, so long as you've got Phoenixmon or X antibody underneath it, all of the on deletion effects of the Digimon, which includes all of its inheritables, will become end of attack. So it means that all of the on deletions that I've been mentioning thus far, the gaining memory, the playing tamers, the returning stuff from trash, the trashing a security card, all of that then becomes the end of its attack. So if it does die, all of those trigger, and if it doesn't die, all of those trigger. It's brilliant. It also then has its own on deletion effect, which is to play out something with 11,000 DP or less, and then it will delete something with DP equal or less to that Digimon. So what's really cool about that is you can actually play out the Phoenixmon, because it has 11,000 DP or less, then delete something with 11,000 or more, and then you also get to delete something potentially with the Phoenixmons on play, so it's really good. I'm then trialing a single copy of the Valkyremon Ace. We can't search this off of the BT11 Biomon, but we can search it off of the BT15 one, and very simply with this one, on play and when digivolving, you put minus 5k on your opponent's board, which can be really good for clearing things. Also, all turns, when a card is removed from your security, or from a security, sorry, I can either delete something with 8,000 DP or less, or gain security stat +1. So really good card. Kind of becoming less good probably as time goes on, but for us and our purposes, Valkyremon Ace is still absolutely fantastic, and right now in the meta it's still pretty damn good. Then going into level 7s, because we're actually playing a level 7 now in this build, I wasn't previously, we've got the Gallantmon Crimson Mode Ace. Again, this can't be searched off the BT11 Biomon because it is actually a virus, but it can be searched off of the BT15 Biomon. On play when digivolving, it then deletes 15,000 DP worth of your opponent's stuff, which is really good. And then when attacking, for every 10 cards in each player's trash, you get to trash the top of your opponent's security, which is amazing. I mean, we obviously fill up our trash with this deck. I mean, Birds is a purple deck in disguise, so if you're going up against certain decks, you can really punish them for having heavy amounts of trash by going into the Crimson mode. Obviously, it's kind of more of a win more with this, you know, unlike with Gallantmon, where their plan is to go to Crimson mode Ace. This is more kind of like a nice thing we can do. Our main plan is to just swarm the board with Birds and control the board that way, but if we want to, we've got this as an extra defensive play, and then it can really wreck house. Then going into the tamers, we've got the Akiho from BT11 at 2 copies. On play, reveal the top 4, add one of your red vaccine Digimon. So that's pretty much everything in the deck other than the Valkyrymon and the Crimson Mode Ace. Then we've got the your turn effect. When you play a Digimon with the aforementioned traits, you get to give that Digimon Rush by suspending the tamer, which is really good. Obviously, we've got the Garudamon X to give Rush anyway, but if we need more Rush, we can do this, because frankly, this deck can just churn out Digimon once it gets its combos going. And that is all thanks to the next tamer, which is Sora from BT15. Memory tamer, so good for kind of fixing your memory. Then all turns, when a card is returned from trash to hand, you get to play out a 13,000 DP or less Digimon with the aforementioned traits, but you have to then take away 2,000 DP for every one of your opponent's security. So at the start of the game, it will only be something small that you can play out. And yeah, as you take away more and more security, the things you get to play out get bigger and bigger and bigger, which is really nice. And the fact is, because you're returning this to hand when you're doing that effect, so you have to return it to hand in order to play something out. You put it into your hand, and then you've got other effects that you can use to just play it back out again and start the loop going. It's so funny. I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic tamer and a fantastically constructed deck. Birds, admittedly, is probably going to get worse and worse as time goes on, but it's still so funny. I absolutely love it. Next, going into the options, we've got 1 copy of Crimson Blaze. Very simple. You reduce the cost of this for each one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you delete all of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, and then they can't play anything by effects. So this can actually be quite good at stopping certain things. So it can technically stop partition, because they can't play out anything. So if you're going up against stuff like Imperial, and you've got the memory, you could potentially play this first before you attempt to delete their Imperial Dramon, stopping them from using a partition. Other Digimon that could be affected by this, so like Numamon and stuff like that. So Crimson Blaze is a fantastic card and will be for a very long time. Then we've got 2 copies of the Wings of Love. You may play 1 red tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. So essentially you get to play out a tamer for 2 cost, which is great. Then if you've got Sora in play, you return something from trash to hand, which means Wings of Love becomes a 2 cost thing that can bring out your Sora and trigger her, which is really, really cool. It just becomes a 1 card combo, essentially. Which is amazing. Then we've got 4 copies of Offense Training. I did go for this just because it allows us to search our tamers and options as well, but given that I've been saying a lot of Imperial stuff, because frankly I'm so scared of Imperial. Imperial is one of those decks where I'm genuinely more scared of it. I was more scared of it at BT16 than I was about Yellow Armor and kind of Numamon, actually. I've beaten both Numamon and Yellow Armor. Imperial is one of those decks that I've very rarely beaten. It's genuinely scary. So Offense Training is the best thing because you've got the reduce the Digivolve and then Digimon Digivolution and then Digivolve, which then triggers their Imperial Dramon Dragon mode. So if you wanted to avoid doing that, go for a red memory boost. It just means you're not going to be able to search your tamers and your options as effectively. You're basically going to be banking just on your Biomons for that searching. But definitely something to consider. Like I said, I've left it in there, but red memory boost could be a good way to go instead. Then we've got 2 copies of the Protoform. This will just allow us to go into our Phoenixmons and Garudamons without necessarily needing Phoenixmons and Garudamons underneath. But that was an old profile. Apologies. Anyways. Professionalism at DU Digimon, as always. Anyways. We've got the Protoform, so this will essentially let you Digivolve into a X antibody for 1 less cost. It's a May Digivolve as well. You don't necessarily have to do it, but you can. And then essentially the inheritable effect of it is when your Digimon would be deleted, you can take something from your stack, add it to your hand, and then put the Protoform into security. So it gives you kind of a form of recovery, which is really nice. But that is the build. I friggin' love birds. I can't wait to properly whack it out again. I've been playing a lot of stuff that uses stuff from this, so I've been testing out a Mars One build recently for reasons that we have not yet gone into on the channel, but keen-eyed watchers on the channel might be able to guess what that is, but we'll officially kind of announce that as time goes on. But we've got you know, I definitely want to whack out birds again sometime soon. All I need to get is this Crimson mode, and then I can build this exact list, because I don't have one, because as of recording, BT17 still not at my local store, and it's great. Anyways, singles are available though, so I might order one soon. I'm just focusing on my Omnimon stuff though first. But yeah, anyways, I digress. That's the build. This is the build. I hope you guys liked it. Like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell if you would, please. Would massively appreciate it. All of us from the team would appreciate that massively. And we will see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.